Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ryan Bell, and I'm the National Organizing Manager for the Secular Student Alliance, which supports thousands of secular, non-religious students at more than 300 campuses across the United States. Our students are passionate about ensuring that non-religious students are treated fairly and equally on campus and off, and are therefore deeply concerned about the separation of religion and government and the many other issues that the Congressional Freethought Caucus is concerned with. So once again, welcome everyone to this special opportunity to speak with one of the champions of free thought, Congressman Jared Huffman. And welcome to you, Representative Huffman. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today.
Well, thanks. It's great to be with you. Thanks for your leadership.
Casey Brink, the Director of Policy and Government Affairs for the Secular Coalition for America, will be conducting the interview today. But before I hand it over to Casey, it's my distinct privilege to present to Representative Jared Huffman this year's Secular Student Alliance Backbone Award. Each year, the Backbone Award is given to a secular leader whose dedication and work over many years has been foundational in the cause of civil rights, freedom, and equality. So, Mr. Huffman, it's my pleasure to present this award to you in appreciation for your dedication and hard work in fighting to preserve our secular democracy and make it possible for the secular students we represent to have the same rights as everyone else. Sometimes Zoom is making it hard to see. It disappears from time to time, but here's the inscription on the bottom. Oh,
that's beautiful.
And we will send this to you in the mail here very shortly.
Well, what a great honor. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Backbone is certainly one of the requirements if you're going to fight for our secular priorities and values in the United States Congress in this day and age. But I couldn't do it without you. And that award means a lot. I will display it proudly. Thank you.
Thank you. And now it's my privilege to introduce Casey Brink from the Secular Coalition for America, who will lead the interview.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to be here today with the Secular Student Alliance and Congressman Jared Huffman, of course, who represents California's 2nd Congressional District and is also the co-chair and a founding member of the Congressional Freethought Caucus, which champions secular ideals and values on Capitol Hill. To our Secular Students Alliance members, if you would like to ask a question, please write your question using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. We will then read the question to the Congressman, time permitting, of course. Representative Huffman, thank you so much for all you do to protect our coastal ecosystems, promote secular thought in Congress, and of course for joining us today to talk a little bit about the role of secularism in our government and the issues of the day. How are you, sir?
I'm well, all things considered. It's a heck of a time to be in the arena, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, but we're glad that we have someone like you in there representing us, and we appreciate it. So my colleague, Mark Dan from the Freedom from Religion Foundation recently had the opportunity to sit down with your good friend and colleague, Representative Raskin from Maryland. And I would like to begin with the same question he asked Congressman Raskin. As a co-founding member and as the chairman of the Congressional Freethought Caucus, what are some of the reasons you chose to form the caucus, and what do you see for its future?
Yeah, so I'm glad you've talked to Jamie Raskin. He and I definitely conceived of this together, and he's the big brain behind all it. I guess I'm the muscle. I don't know, how we divide up the different contributions, but nobody's smarter than Jamie Raskin. He is an incredible constitutional scholar, and he has forgotten more about First Amendment jurisprudence and policy than I'll ever know. So what a great ally for me to have. I'm just this guy who, kind of had a weird personal journey, falling out of religion over the course of my life, and coming to conclude a few years ago that it was time to just go ahead and be honest with the public and with my constituents about where I stand personally with no God belief and being a humanist. And that sort of led me to be a little more public and proactive in putting that into action in my work as a congressman. And so what a time to do it, because you just have the hijacking and weaponizing of religion happening every single day. Donald Trump just gave an interview I saw this morning where he's telling evangelicals if Joe Biden gets elected, it's the end of their religion. which is just so preposterous. But it's one thing after another. It's the way these evangelical end times crazy thoughts have made it into our foreign policy and affected the way we no longer fight for human rights around the world and our policy in the Middle East and so many other things. I've just gotten thoroughly disgusted by the way religion has contaminated good, fact-based, science-based policy in this country. And I see the Freethought Caucus as, part of the bulwark against that.
That's fantastic, and we appreciate you doing that. It certainly is needed. You're absolutely right. You represent a coastal district. You have much of your district, has the Pacific Ocean as right on top of it. So knowing you're a champion for many environmental issues, and more specifically for protecting our coastal communities and ecosystems, how do you see secular thought and action helping impact those issues, and how can secularists and non-theists as a community get involved to help?
Well, a little bit of what I was just alluding to. I think part of this climate denial, this doubling down on fossil fuel dominance, this, crazy prosperity gospel that you see preached by a lot of Donald Trump's followers, it's all contributing, or it's all inhibiting our ability to confront the real facts and the real science of the existential crisis of climate change. I may not believe in an afterlife, but I believe in humanity, and I believe in doing our best to preserve this planet for future generations. And that requires accepting facts and science and dealing with this climate change challenge rather than wishing it away with, fairy tales or, crazy religious prophecies. So, at the highest level, that's part of what we're dealing with. We have people who simply believe that their religious faith will solve a problem that is actually potentially going to kill us and end the planet if we don't snap out of that daze and deal with it.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. So, speaking to the the growing wave of secularism and secular thought in the nation, current data sets that there is that swelling happening, and as the religiously unaffiliated population continues to grow, where do you see that potential in governing and future legislation?
Well, we've got a lot of scientists who are allies in this fight, and so I think that's a natural part of our secular coalition here, those who care deeply about science. I think, if anything, we fight about a lot of things right now in our national politics, but the fight for facts and truth and science is at the core of all of it. And climate change is just one of the most important fronts in which that's playing out.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. We would be remiss to not mention this. In the current moment, when we have a good opportunity to focus on systemic racism, its devastating effects on the Black and brown communities, do you see any areas in which the Black Lives Matter movement overlaps with issues specifically of interest to non-theists, and how can non-theists assist that move for change?
Sure. Well, I think most of us know that institutions like slavery and segregation were propped up by religion for centuries, and continuing into the modern era, you have certain folks who use religion as a pretext for these hideous ways of thinking and treating other human beings. So I think it's a natural fit. Now, a lot of our African American friends are people of faith, and a lot of our allies are people of faith. So I think it's always important that we work with the interfaith community wherever possible for good outcomes and good policies. There's no shortage of opportunities to do that, I think, when it comes to confronting racism.
Fantastic. Sir, thank you. At this time, I think maybe we'll try to take a question or two from our students, if that's all right. Ryan, do you have a question from one of the students?
I don't have a question from a student yet, but in the absence of that, I have a question about our students.
Perfect.
We have, as I mentioned in the beginning, about 300 campuses around the United States on which we have student-led clubs, and our job as a national nonprofit is to resource those students the best we can, give them the leadership training that we can give them, and resources and tools to be representatives of secular values on their campus. And I just wondered, we have a bunch of students on the call listening in, and what words of, I guess, encouragement or advice would you have for our secular students, some of whom face real obstacles in parts of the country where being non-religious is still extremely stigmatized?
Yeah. Well, I salute you, first of all, for the way you're identifying and the way you're advocating as young leaders. That's great. We need more of that. And you know that the trends and the trajectory, it's all on your side. Okay. So you shouldn't feel like you're on the wrong side of anything. This is the way the country and the world are heading right now. But it's not a popularity contest. And there's certainly going to be times when you're going to feel uncomfortable and unpopular. I guess if I could presume to offer any advice, it would be this: just be comfortable with who you are and where you are, and don't feel like you have to attack people of faith. I think that's the aggressive atheist is probably a brand that doesn't serve us well. We need to respect how deeply personal these decisions of faith are, no matter how you come out. But also don't feel like you have to apologize or be shamed by those who would weaponize religion against you. You can stand tall and proud and know that some of the smartest, best people in this world are right there with you.
Thank you so much. That's really encouraging. We did get one question, if there's time permitting, one question about the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. This person asks, is any progress being made? This is Edward Brown. Is any progress being made in fixing RFRA to prevent it from being used to permit religious claims being used to deny the rights of other citizens?
I think I'd need to look a little more specifically into that question and what's going on. I'm not sure I'm aware of any progress that would be responsive to that question right now. But there's certainly all sorts of mischief afoot in terms of using religion, whether it's Betsy DeVos or Pompeo or any other leader in this administration. They're up to no good every single day, and you're wise to be vigilant about that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. We know that you're very busy, and again, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us. Do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to share with our students?
No, just thank you. Keep up the good work. I'm really grateful for this Secular Coalition of America. We've come a long way. I have noticed just in the last few years how this community of secular groups has grown, how the focus of the advocacy has sharpened and the quality of it has improved. So I'm actually quite optimistic about the future of secular advocacy in this country, and I'm grateful to see young leaders stepping up and being part of that.
Well, thank you again, sir. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's great.
Thanks again for the award.
You're welcome. Thank you. Very deserving.
Well, that was great. I would like to thank everybody who participated in today's discussion, especially, of course, Representative Jared Huffman, Ryan Bell from the Secular Students Alliance, Mark Dam with the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and of course, all of the Secular Alliance students who joined us. Thank you all again for being here. It's students like yourselves who will take secular thought and governance to the next level. And on that note, I would like to remind you to go out and vote in November. It's very important. I hope everyone stays safe and healthy out there. Take care and have a great conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Casey.
Thanks, Ryan.